Hi Nandish, good morning.
Good morning.
A lovely morning to spend with you today. Uh, I've usually been your mentor for so many years and I've always done the talking. But today I think I will change gears. I want you to do the talking while I'm going to do the listening. Okay.
Mhm.
And I want you to speak for so many students out there who are preparing for CA final exams, CA exams in general,
Mhm.
and need a lot of first-hand experiences, tips, tricks of what to do and what to do differently so that they can make it, right? So
Correct.
first, I'm going to start off with once again congratulating you for securing an All India 37th rank in your CA final exams this year. It's a very special year for you because I'm sure you are, it's a year where you've made everybody, whether it's your parents, whether it's your family, whether it's your teachers and mentors, very, very proud. So, what's
Correct.
the like?
Thank you. What? What's the
What's the
feeling like?
like?
Yeah. So I feel really unburdened to say the least,
Okay.
unburdened and relieved. And so I really feel satisfied with the efforts that I put in,
Yeah.
because I feel happy that after 5 years of struggle and hard work, I was able to achieve this feat. And also that one thing that I'm now a chartered accountant. So
Yeah.
it is a great feeling, and the rank was a cherry on the cake.
Absolutely. It is all it's absolutely a cherry on your cake. And Nandish, I've always known you, I think for the 4 5 years that I've known you, I've known you to be always persevering. I've always known you to be dedicated and always very passionate for learning. But there must be some secret recipe, right, behind this
Mhm.
success. What is that secret recipe?
So I guess there is no one such thing. So there are multiple things. So I would say that consistency is the thing that you require the most in order to
Yeah.
clear CA and to achieve a rank as well.
Mhm.
So I was always consistent throughout the course. So even during my articleship, I used to watch lectures regularly,
Okay.
and I used to complete my lectures like within that given time frame itself.
Mhm.
Every day in the morning, for 3 hours, I used to watch the lectures,
Mhm.
and I had planned it in such a way that before my study break, I completed all of my lectures.
I
So
see.
I guess consistency is very important. And during my study break itself, I used to study every day for 9.5 to 10 hours every day.
Out to 10 hours. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's
So
about consistently attending class firstly,
yes.
much before your study break. And I've, off late I've seen this trend where students,
Hmm.
just rely on uh, doing it around their lifestyle, doing it when they're
Hmm.
free, doing it with recordings. But no,
Correct.
the recipe for clearing C exams, as you rightly put, is unbelievable amount of discipline. You have to be
Correct.
disciplined. You have to be able to wake up at 7 o'clock and see those classes, attend those lectures, or spend those weekends. Of course, it's not about
Hmm.
burning yourself all the time. It's about the right balance, but very rightly put, it's about
Hmm.
consistency. Wonderful.
Correct.
And will you take us through your journey? So,
Hmm.
of course, after having coached yourself for CA final, what does your 5 months study break look like? That's
Hmm.
quite a Herculean plan that each student prepares. And after you all prepare plans, you'll come back
Hmm.
because students often tell me, sir, जो plan banaya tha, it's all out. Now we need to remake the plan. And I think that's all
Correct.
we're doing in 5 months, right? Just take us through
True.
what your 5 month journey looked like.
So at the beginning of the 5 month journey, as I mentioned, I had completed my classes. So all I had to focus now is on the self study.
Mhm.
The biggest challenge was to cover the entire portion because it is a very vast portion. It's a Herculean portion, and to cover that in a 5 months time and to cover it thrice, because
Thrice.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
according to me, at least three revisions are required in
Mhm.
order to clear CA in the first attempt and also to gain a rank.
Mhm.
So then my first challenge was to plan it in such a way that I can complete it in a progressive manner, and I had to get the three reads done. So initially for the first read I gave 2.5 months. Then for the second read I gave 1.5 months, and for the last read I had dedicated 1 month for that.
Okay. Okay.
Now what happened is I never met any of my plans, so I could complete only two reads.
Mhm.
And as my exams got postponed by 15 days, so I got extra 15 days, from which 10 days I dedicated to the third read, where I could just dedicate, I just gave 1 day for each and every subject.
Okay.
So that is how I completed my 3 reads. But yeah, so I also could never meet those plans which I had made. But the important thing is that I continue to plan. So it's not that I stopped planning, because you need to continue to plan so that you know as to which subject requires more amount of time considering the previous read. So
Correct.
that is very important. And so there are ups and downs that you would face, any student would face. So I myself got down with COVID in the middle of my study break. So I had to study during those sick days as well.
Yeah.
And other than that, I feel that you need to plan and schedule your day perfectly. So I am a morning person. So what I used to do is in the morning from 7 to 1, I used to study at a stretch, maybe 15-minute break in the middle. And then I used to take at 1, so I used to take a lunch break, and I used to watch some series or something for half an hour. So I took 1.5 hour of break at that point of time. And then
Okay.
again I used to sit down to study and stretch till the evening, around 7:30 or so. And one thing that was fixed was after 7:30 or 8, I would never open my books,
Okay.
because I would give that time to myself. I would have dinner, I would sit with my family, or go down for a walk with a friend. So that is something that I used to do, because nighttime was something where I could not study.
Mhm.
So I had
Another
planned it.
question, Nandish, here, a lot of students
Mhm.
keep coming back and asking is, while you're planning this day and you're planning the various months of
Mhm.
your study, what kind of combination of subjects do you usually take? Was your
Mhm.
focus on a particular subject? Did you take a mix of subjects to study?
During a day. No, so what I had done is I used to study only one subject at a point of time, because so in inter what I had done is I used to study theory in the morning and practical in the evening.
Mm,
I divided it that way, but in the final it is not possible, because to get out of one subject and to dive into another subject during the
mm,
same day itself, I
mm.
find it very difficult for myself.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
used to stick to one subject during a point of time, and I used to complete that one subject and move on to the next.
I see. So if you dived into a subject, you would give it a week, 10 days, finish that off, and
Yes.
then move on to the next subject. That
Correct.
was
So I had dedicated certain set of days for each and every subject, and then I used to complete it and only then move to the next.
yours. There's another point, Nandish, I want you to tell all the
Mhm.
CA aspirants that when you're getting yourself coached,
Mhm.
one is the time that you spend in the class, and second is very quickly going back home and just quickly seeing what's done in
Mhm.
the class, so that you come back the next day. You're getting your doubts off, and of course, when you prepare, then it's not with the focus that you're writing an exam, but it's
Mhm.
just to sort of tick mark that you've understood what's happening,
Mhm.
right? I don't see this culture with students these days. I want you to tell students out there
Mhm.
how important it is to have a very simple, it could be as little as 1 hour regime a day, but you have to
Mhm.
have that regime of going back and seeing what's done in the class.
I absolutely agree. So I would confess that I also did not used to do that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But coming nearer to my study break, the subjects which I studied at the nearing to my study break, I used to have that practice as well.
Yeah.
Where I used to, so if I studied for 3 hours during the day, then I think and going back at night, I used to study for half an hour and just glance through the topics that were covered during that day.
Yeah.
And that really helps you, retain those subjects as such. So I guess that is a great practice if followed consistently. And it doesn't matter when you start, you can even start right now, but
Yeah.
you should follow it so that you retain those concepts better.
I very rightly put, I was telling somebody other day, a student, I said, the way you have this routine that when you go to bed, you want to see Instagram for 15 minutes,
Mm,
isn't it?
mm,
However tired you are, you want to watch that one series on
mm,
Hotstar before you go to sleep. You have to have the regime of putting in that 1 hour at least of reading every day.
mm,
You could have a day full of coaching, articleship,
mm.
traveling around, personal problems, all that apart. But you have
Correct.
to have that regime, and if you have that regime, really, that is what helps, right?
True.
Another point, at this point, I want to ask you is, I mean, as teachers and mentors, we keep telling students how important
Mm.
it is to write. Okay, how important it is to practice articulation.
Correct.
Because that's the only way your mind hand is all coordinated in
Mm.
the exam, right? That's the only way
Yes.
things come quickly. You avoid blankouts.
Mm.
Or tell students something about your experiences of writing
Mm.
yourself, whether it's a theory paper, whether it's a practical paper,
Mm.
writing with yourself, spending time doing mock exams. I'd like to say something about that.
Yeah. So one thing that I always used to do is during my study break for practical subjects, I used to write down each and every sum.
Okay.
Even if I could just write, the last answer. If I know the complete way of solving it, I would write the last answer,
Mhm.
just scribbling down. So that
Sure.
really helps you to gain confidence that, yeah, you know how to solve.
Sure.
And for theory, I did not have much writing practice, but I gave mocks. And mocks are
Okay.
a must for CA
Okay.
final or
Mhm.
clearing in the first attempt,
Mhm.
because mocks put you right in that situation of, stress and, how to deal with the different kinds of sums. Because in mocks, usually the difficulty is higher
Yeah.
than the normal examination. So it
Mhm.
gives you a complete feel of how the environment would be in those 3 hours that
Sure.
you are about to face,
Sure.
and that really helps to keep your cool and calm during the 3 hours where you need to perform. So
Sure.
mocks are a must.
Absolutely. Very important. I keep telling, young students that if you're going for an exam without writing assessments and mocks, it's really like going for a war without weapons, right? So you have
True,
to
true.
have to write, and that's the way. Wonderful. Now, another point which I'm going to sort of talk about is managing stress, right? I think each one of us, whether it's you or whether it's me or whether it's anybody who's done any professional exam, especially a difficult exam like
Hmm.
goes through a lot of stress, right? You
Correct.
have your panic attacks, you have, you get up in the middle of the night wondering what's
Mhm.
going to happen. And especially when you have a plan that goes for a toss when there are contingencies. Like
Mhm.
you mentioned, you got COVID, right? Each one of
Correct.
us face some or the other situation that's unplanned
Mhm.
for. How
True.
do you manage stress? How do you manage time?
So even I myself had breakdowns in the middle of my study break,
Hmm.
where I could not study for 5 days at a stretch, 5 days, and that happened twice.
Hmm.
So one thing that you could do is you could, include these contingencies and the buffer time in your plan, first
Yeah,
of all.
yeah,
Other than that, how to manage stress. So what I used to do is as I mentioned, I used to not study at night. So I used to take out that time for myself, where I used to watch
very important.
streams,
Yeah.
gaming streams. I used to watch TV shows. I used to go down for walks with my friends. So that is something that I used to do. Because I knew that I would get bored of continuously studying. So you need to,
You need to vent
encounter.
out. Very
Yeah.
important. You have to have
So
those small breaks for yourself. Yeah.
correct. So you need to figure out your stress buster. It could be music, it could be sports, and you to regularly take out time for that. Because
Yeah.
so it's not a race, it's a marathon, the CA final course. So if you want to do it consistently, then you need some stress buster as well.
Yeah. Very right. Very right. It's a marathon. So you need to
Yeah.
constantly keep, taking those pauses and sipping those orange juices along the way. Otherwise, you
True.
can't run very far. So you have to have those breaks, which are
Hmm.
factored. And,
Correct.
a loud message to all students that you will have, those nervous attacks. You will have those
True.
panic attacks. Plans will change. It's very, very normal. Okay.
Correct.
Uh, and for some reason, you don't make it. It's not the end of the world. uh,
True.
it happens,
Hmm.
it's going to be another time. And after so many years of seeing on the other side, even at work, I'll tell you,
Hmm.
Nandish, uh, I've seen so many students, of course, those who clear in the first go, especially like you with the rank, of course,
Hmm.
excel. But I've seen so many students who couldn't make it in the first go. They prepared
Hmm.
another time for the second time, and they made it and they came out. And trust me, they have terrific understanding of the course because they've read it twice.
True.
Okay.
Correct.
And you may feel that it's a hurdle when you're getting into your jobs, but trust
Hmm.
me, once you're onto your
It is
job,
not. Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. What then
Hmm.
matters is your performance. So,
Correct.
uh, let's not build that artificial stress and pressure for us.
Hmm.
That's very, very
True.
important. Wonderful. One last thing, I often, tell everybody that, you never prepare when you prepare for a C exam, you
Hmm.
don't prepare with the thought that you're going to pass or get a rank. You just prepare well. Okay.
Prepare.
You don't know. It's your style is a trial and error.
Correct.
Now you pass and you get a rank by default. Like you said,
Hmm.
it's a cake that gets baked. If there's a
Hmm.
cherry, it's only then that you go back and think, okay, you would have done something differently, right?
Hmm.
On a very final note, share those two, three tips or two, three
Hmm.
things that you did differently, which
Hmm.
students can do and, sort of excel in exams.
Yeah. So one thing that I used to do is my markings were very precise in all of my subjects. So what I did is, and I feel that really helped me in my revisions. So I had color coded my marking. So yellow highlighter was for the first read,
Okay.
then green highlighter was for the second read, where I used to mark those topics which I could not remember very clearly from the first read. And in the last read, that is the third read, I used to mark with the pink highlighter, which I thought the topics which were important. So that is one thing that I did, and that really helped
So
me revise.
just this color coding happens while you're studying in the coaching classes, or it happens after you're out of your
No,
classroom
I
when you're
did that
studying a
during my
place?
study break.
Okay, you did that in a
Yeah.
study break. Okay. Okay.
So that I guess really helped me in my revision during the 1.5 day of the exams
Right.
that I get. Other than that, mocks are a must, as I mentioned. But the one thing that I did differently was that I don't think it is so almost all the rankers and all those who clear in the first attempt, they usually focus on conceptual clarity, and that is very important. So even though I had lesser number of reads, as I focused more on conceptual clarity, I was able to clear and crack the exams in the first attempt. And so if I could not understand a topic, in the time bound manner, which in the time that I had given for that topic, but I would take out more time to get into the conceptual clarity of the concept. So that is very important. And other than that, as I mentioned, I had used to take out time for my stress busters. I used to be, and I was completely cool, patient, and composed during my entire study break, because I knew that, and one mindset that I had is that if I'm finding a topic difficult, or if I'm facing a situation where I have a breakdown or I'm stressed, what I used to think is that everybody's facing the same thing. My peers who are giving the exam, we are all on the same boat.
It's all in the
And
same boat that comforts
yes,
me. Yeah.
so that used to give me a little bit of comfort, and then I used to get back to studies with another zeal. So, and that is something that I used to keep in
Yes.
mind.
Yes. I think just one more thing which I'm going to add here is, point you made, and I wanted to talk a little more about this, is knowing how to study one day before the exam. You've done years of preparation, 5 months of rigorous work, but if you can't collect yourself in that 1.5 days before the exam, it's all lost, right? And collecting yourself 1.5 days before the exam just doesn't happen on that day. You have
Correct.
to do a lot of dress rehearsals before. Right? That's
True.
when you know how to collect yourself. And I've seen so many students who do wonderfully well, but they lose it on that. And when you're not in that frame of mind, then you're lost. So how do you plan for that 1.5 days before the exam?
So yeah, this is something that I also realized. So everything. So if you would have given your time in those 5 months, but if you mess up in those 3 hours of exam, then it's all gone for a toss. So the best way to prepare for this is to give mocks, because you put yourself in that same situation. You need to prepare in those 1.5 days, and you need to go for an exam, and then you need to perform in those 3 hours. So there are a lot of things that you will learn from those mocks. So pressure management, stress management, time management, because you need to complete that paper in those 3 hours. So all of these things really help. And other than that, what I used to do is, once I reach the exam center, I used to not open my books at all, because it would give me unnecessary stress, and when at the time when I needed to relax myself the most.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that I used to follow.
And I think also to wrap up yourself 1.5 days before the exam, whether it's whatever subject to do, I think you have to, like you said, you have to clearly have those colored markings of what to look at, what and what not to look at, right?
Correct.
Because so you should be able to navigate concepts, navigate chapters, navigate syllabuses very quickly, only looking at things which really need to be seen,
Correct.
right? And I always tell the students, don't sit and solve anything 1.5 days before the exam. It's not the time to write. It's just the time to sort of sit back and run the whole movie once very, very quickly. And that's a dress rehearsal you need to do before,
True.
isn't it?
Yes.
So I think wonderful chatting with you, Nandish. I really wanted you to come and share your experiences with students who are preparing on the way, and you've done that very well. So I can just wish you lots of luck on the way for all your future endeavors. I hope you had some more feathers to your cap, and I wish you luck for the next organization that you will, get into, take up, and grab some wonderful roles on your way to come.
Thank
Right?
you. Thank you so much for having me. And I believe that I might have shared some insightful thoughts, and boosted the confidence of the people who are going to give the exams. And
Absolutely. Thank you, Nandish.
thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you.